Happening right now at noon, former President Bill Clinton speaking to a congressional committee today over his alleged connections with the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Plus, 3 Gresham teenagers facing attempted murder charges after leading police on a chase following a shooting.
It has been a nightmare.
After months with no job, a judge rules that a battleground teacher should be back in the classroom, while district officials disagree. Plus, Grant McComey follows a local photographer who sees the world through a different lens.
We're chasing the light more than we're chasing the landscape itself.
We begin with breaking news this afternoon. A former Camas Washougal Battalion fire chief has just been sentenced to 25 years in prison for murdering his wife and then staging her death. Thanks for joining us here at noon. I'm Stephanie Domerat. KGW's John Adams is outside the courthouse. John, what happened in court today?
Yeah, Stephanie, Kevin West showing no remorse in court today for killing his wife and was emotionless when he was taken away in handcuffs. West was convicted of first and second degree murder earlier this year. Investigators said he initially told them his wife Marcy had suffered a seizure and stopped breathing in 2024. However, an autopsy determined Marcy West had died from asphyxia and blunt force trauma. Investigators later determined that Kevin West was having an affair and had discussed ending his marriage. West's daughter, Megan, didn't think the sentence was enough.
You know, personally, someone who kills their wife, the person they're supposed to love, I don't think they should only get 300 a month. They should be there for the rest of their life.
We also heard from Kevin West's son in court today. We will have more from both of them coming up today at 4 p.m. But again, the former battalion chief for Camas Washougal, Kevin West, will spend the next 25 years behind bars for murdering his wife. Stephanie.
All right, John, thank you for that report. Right now, happening across the country, former President Bill Clinton is speaking with a congressional committee today as part of its ongoing investigation into the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. The historic deposition comes just one day after his wife, former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, spent Thursday answering questions from those same lawmakers. The former Secretary of State spending nearly 6 hours answering questions about Epstein, making it clear she didn't know much and that her husband has nothing to hide.
The connection that he had with Epstein ended several years before anything about Epstein's criminal activities came to light.
Now, Bill Clinton's name and picture have popped up hundreds of times in the files, but despite that, he has already told the House Oversight Committee that he, quote, saw nothing and did nothing wrong. And back here at home in an update, Portland General Electric crews appear to have restored power for most customers after an outage in Marion County left more than 2,500 households in the dark this morning. The majority of outages were around this area near Jervis, but looking at PGE's outage map now, only a couple of homes are still without power. The outage caused multiple schools to have late starts, and the Jervis School District canceled their classes today. All right, let's give you a live look outside. This is the view from our Salem Skycam looking out over the Capitol. A very nice sunny afternoon today. Let's check in with Chris McGinnis with a look at your forecast as we head into your weekend.
Yeah, after a foggy start, but behind me, look at this, just clear blue over Timberline Lodge, and we'll give you a different perspective pointed south towards Mount Jefferson. Just a gorgeous afternoon here across Northwest Oregon. We did have a little bit of fog this morning, and I captured that on our time lapse from our Vancouver sky camera, courtesy of the Springs of the Waterfront in Vancouver. There you see the light fog and the beautiful morning sunrise with the clouds moving in and the color just giving us some bright pinks and oranges in the sky. That has cleared, and now you can see from our Wells Fargo sky camera that we are bright and sunny here over downtown Portland. Last check at the airport, we're up to 48 degrees, so a couple of degrees warmer than we were yesterday at this time. As we check out the visible satellite imagery across the region, now that the sky is really cleared out, you get an appreciation for the snowpack and the blues and the Wallowas there in eastern Oregon, the South Washington, northern Oregon Cascades as well. And again, the I-5 corridor, which was, for some cases, socked in with fog this morning, that has lifted. So a beautiful and sunny afternoon. It's just gorgeous out there with highs in the mid-50s today. We have had to make some changes to the weekend forecast, specifically overnight Saturday into Sunday because of that. Will that bring rain or won't it? I'll try to walk you through that coming up in just a few minutes. Stephanie?
Okay, we'll see you then, Chris. Thank you. Developing this afternoon, 3 Gresham teenagers have been arrested on an attempted murder charge for a shooting in Northeast Portland that led police on a chase. Around 11 o'clock Wednesday, police say they chased a car from a shooting scene on Northeast Rocky Butte Road. Police say the driver ran red lights before officers stopped it at 148th and Halsey using a pit maneuver. The 17-year-old driver, a 16-year-old passenger, and an 18-year-old named D'Angelo Smartlowit were arrested. Police seized 3 handguns as well. No victims were found at the scene of the shooting, but one man took himself to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries.
It has been a nightmare.
A judge has ruled that a battleground teacher should be reinstated after a student claims she called the late Charlie Kirk a Nazi. The teacher has been on paid administrative leave for close to 6 months now. KGW's Thomas Schultz has her reaction this afternoon.
Amanda Gonzalez says she never actually called Charlie Kirk a Nazi. The student who accused her later recanted their statement according to the teachers union. Our Catherine Cook caught up with Gonzalez last night.
What did you say that day?
I told the student in the hallway thoughts and prayers for his family. That was it.
Did you say it in a sarcastic tone?
No, I was in hallway duty. I was waiting for a class to come in.
Gonzalez fought for reinstatement backed by her fellow teachers. She got an appeals hearing, and on January 23rd, a judge ruled the district should reinstate her. The judge noted she couldn't find statements made by witnesses that are entirely credible, nor could she find that Gonzalez's response to those statements was dishonest. But that all happened more than a month ago. Gonzalez says the only thing the district has offered her is a resignation package with temporary benefits.
Well, they're trying to buy me out in such a way that I would lose my medical benefits and my income for something that I didn't do. I didn't do anything wrong.
In a statement to KGW, the district referenced multiple complaints alleging that Gonzalez made polarizing statements at school, including a negative comment about Charlie Kirk. They said their investigation determined Gonzalez violated district policies, including staff expression and civility in the workplace, ultimately writing, "The hearing officer disagreed that the conduct as perceived and witnessed by students justified discharge," and reinstated Ms. Gonzalez. When asked why they still hadn't given her job back, a spokesperson said they were unable to provide further information. Though a union representative says Gonzalez doesn't want a settlement, she wants her job. Thomas Schultz, KGW News.
And to Salem now, where Oregon lawmakers have passed a bill they say will give more protections to immigrant students and help them feel safe at school. It adds immigration and citizenship status to the list of protected categories under Oregon's non-discrimination statutes. It also expands guidance for schools on how to respond to immigration enforcement activity on or near school campuses. The bill now heads to the governor's desk. New analysis from CNN shows ICE officers receive far less training than most armed federal agents. ICE deportation officers now receive 42 days of training, which is less than half what they got during the Biden administration. Some experts with inside knowledge say that reduction could lead to deadly mistakes. ICE says no essential content is left out, and training days right now run 12 hours instead of 8. Well, coming up tonight, we have a new KGW investigation into how tear gas was used against protesters at Portland's ICE facility. Investigative reporter Kyla Boshi brings us a preview.
This KGW investigation comes at an important time. On Monday, a 3-day hearing begins in federal court in Portland to determine whether to restrict federal officers' use of tear gas and other less lethal munitions. It was Saturday afternoon, January 31st, and roughly 1,000 protesters at a union-organized rally marched toward the ICE building in Portland's south waterfront. The crowd chanted. Most stayed on the street. A few crossed ICE's property line. At 4:32, the front gate opened, and federal officers in tactical gear pushed toward the crowd. The protesters retreated. 5 seconds later, officers fired less lethal. Agents tossed smoke and chemical irritants into the crowd. Video showed federal agents shot one man at close range. Another round exploded at head level, searing a hole in an American flag. The use of chemical munitions stoked public outrage and triggered backlash from local officials, in part because of who was affected: neighbors, families, and children. But the incident also raised broader questions about use of force. KGW analyzed more than 200 video clips showing federal officers confronting protesters outside Portland's ICE building since last summer. The videos present a detailed picture of how crowd control munitions are being misused, causing injuries and inflaming tensions even more. Then we took those findings to experts, including the former head of U.S. Customs and Border Protection.
It's totally unprofessional. It's totally outside the standards that any police department or sheriff's department would use in managing a crowd.
Coming up tonight at 6, our full investigation, how federal officers used tear gas at Portland's ICE building and why it may have violated federal policy. Kyle Aboshi, KGW News.